Welcome to our channel where we provide analysis, summaries and reenactments of the most dramatic events in the movie Beyond the Gates. Here, we do not simply recount the content, but also delve into the psychology of the characters, betrayal, revenge and the dark secrets hidden behind the glamorous walls of the wealthy community. Join us in a tense chapter, where anger, pain and cruel choices push the characters into the abyss of tragedy. In the thick darkness that covers the luxurious but cold community, the tense atmosphere seems to permeate every corner. All the sparkling lights of the villas behind the large iron gate only highlight the hidden lies. Hidden under that glitz are conspiracies, secrets, oaths of betrayal and even boiling revenge. That's where Donnell walked, his heart heavy with grief, his hands shaking but determined, his mind haunted by the image of Doug, his brother, his companion who had died tragically. Doug's death was not a simple accident. In Donnell's mind, that death had a clear culprit, Joey. He was the one who had lured Doug into dark relationships, shady affairs, and then pushed Doug down the path of despair. Donnell had witnessed his friend's decline firsthand, Doug's nights drowning in alcohol, his days of disorientation, and finally, the accident that ended it all. But behind that accident, Donnell was convinced that Joey was the hidden hand that pushed Doug into the abyss. The guilt for not being able to save his friend mixed with the immense rage, like a smoldering fire that burned Donnell's soul every day. For weeks after the death, Donnell could not find peace. He had only one thought: revenge. Nothing else could free him from the haunting call of the past. Doug was dead, but Donnell was still alive, and his very existence now consisted of a single mission: to make Joey pay in blood. Joey, who had once appeared strong and arrogant, was lost in his own world, filled with lies, calculations, and greed. He did not realize that Donnell, who had silently watched his every move, had gradually turned into a living nightmare. Day by day, Donnell gathered evidence, listened to news, followed leads, and waited for the perfect opportunity. That fateful night, with the moonless sky and the cold wind whistling through the trees, he knew the moment of revenge had finally come. Without hesitation, without mercy, Donnell followed Joey to a dark, secluded corner. There, an eerie silence reigned, broken only by footsteps and labored breathing. Donnell felt his heart pounding, not with fear but with the tension of the moment of revenge approaching. In his mind, Doug's image appeared clearly: the smile, the despair, and the final, tragic moment. All of it merged into a rushing stream, forcing him to make the cruelest decision of his life. The action was swift, cold, and precise. Donnell did not say a word, nor did he need to make any sound. The silence was more terrifying than screaming, because it was the silence of absolute determination. Joey had no chance to beg, nor a moment to turn the situation around. He fell, his eyes wide in shock, as if he couldn't believe he'd ended up this way. For Donnell, it wasn't just a death, it was a release for Doug's soul. But in that moment, with blood on his hands, some deep part of Donnell knew he'd crossed the line of no return. Meanwhile, Vanessa, who had once stood at the intersection of loyalty and truth, was being drawn into a nightmare she never thought she'd have to face. Vanessa had long suspected there was something lurking behind Doug's death, but she'd never considered the brutality of the truth. As the clues began to appear, piece by piece, a horrifying picture emerged before her eyes: Donnell had killed Joey. At first, Vanessa didn't want to believe it. Donnell, the man she had once considered trustworthy, the man with unwavering loyalty to his friends, had now become a cold-blooded killer. The truth was like a knife cutting deep into her heart. She trembled as she remembered the looks Donnell had given her, the fierce way he had defended Doug's honor. All of that, now, had become the motive for a horrific crime. Vanessa was torn. Part of her wanted to understand, to sympathize with Donnell's pain, because she had witnessed Doug's own breakdown. But another part of her couldn't accept, couldn't forgive an action that had torn the line between justice and evil. Donnell had let his hatred cloud his judgment, and the price he paid was not just Joey's life, but his own soul. Vanessa's horror came not just from Joey's death, but from the realization that they were now all drawn into a vicious cycle. Joey may have been blameworthy, but his end had opened up a chain of even darker consequences. By killing Joey, Donnell had made himself the hunted one, and Vanessa knew she was the only witness who had the truth. She stood at the threshold of a choice: keep quiet and let the truth be buried, or speak out and drag it all down into the abyss of tragedy. Each choice was a sentence. If she remained silent, she would carry the burden of guilt, haunted by the truth that only she knew. If she spoke out, Donnell would collapse, and the friendship, love, loyalty that had once bound them would crumble to dust. Vanessa could not sleep. Long nights she wandered the large house, the darkness covering every wall as if whispering reminders of the crime that had happened. Every howl of wind, every small noise in the night startled her, her heart pounding, as if Joey's ghost was lurking around here. In the mirror, her eyes were cloudy, her face gaunt, reflecting the panic and helplessness she could not hide. Donnell, after Joey's death, thought she would find peace. But the truth was cruel. Instead of being freed, he was haunted even more. The image of Doug no longer smiling in his mind, but Joey's glaring eyes as he collapsed. Every time he closed his eyes, the scene appeared, clear and horrifying as if time had never passed. He realized that, by killing Joey, he had not saved Doug, nor himself. He had only condemned himself to an invisible prison, where the chains were his conscience. Vanessa witnessed that decline every day. Donnell grew quieter, his eyes dull and heavy, his hands trembling when he touched anything. He avoided everyone, even her. Vanessa knew the truth could not be buried forever. One day, the light would shine through, and when it did, the entire community would be shocked by what was hidden behind the perfect facade. She was terrified not only of the crime, but of its power to change people. Donnell, who had once lived with loyalty and honor, had become a man controlled by the darkness. And it was this transformation that made Vanessa realize one thing: none of them could escape the spiral of hatred, betrayal, and despair. As dawn broke, pale yellow light filtering through the window, Vanessa sat motionless, her mind heavy. She knew that, one way or another, the truth would be revealed. And when it did, everything they had worked so hard to hold on to would crumble. The horror in her eyes was not just a reaction to the crime that had happened, but also a fear of what lay ahead. In a world where revenge was chosen over justice, there were no winners. Donnell lost his soul, Joey lost his life, Doug lost his chance at peace, and Vanessa lost the last hope in the people she once believed in. Behind that seemingly safe gate, a new war has begun, not with weapons, but with conscience and the truth that is lurking to be freed. Thank you for following this dramatic analysis on our channel. If you want to continue to accompany the secrets, tragedies and constant shocks in Beyond the Gates, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the next exciting content.